have a lot of moving parts and you've sort of validated and proved to yourself that each one of these models will work, but you want to figure out.
There's a way we could really get nerdy about it and go into like the structure of things.
I love your philosophy of like one funnel, one offer, which seems just so much simpler than having like 6 different things.
I think there's another reframe here though that's really important. I think is we need to redefine the word offer, because when I hear you say I have 6 different offers, really I think you have 6 different products and services, but it's all the same offer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I feel like the pressure that you're feeling isn't necessarily that you feel like you have a bunch of different offers. It's that you have a number of different fronts that require your attention.
Yeah.
Be very precise about the words that you use. Instead of thinking of it as a different offer, think of it as...
I'm excited for today's episode. We have Matt Holmes joining us. Getting right into it, I'd love to learn about you. Please tell us about your business, how you're here talking to us today, and then one thing will lead to another and we'll get to your question.
Cool. Thank you, John. So I'll try and keep this short because it's quite a long story. But I ran a video production company here in the UK. You can probably tell by my accent. From 2010 to 2020, I worked at the BBC in that time as well. And in 2020, COVID hit the UK and that video production business went boom overnight. And we were 2 months away from our twins being born. And we suddenly had no income because my wife, Laurie, she worked for my video business. And yeah, we had no income at all. So I took to trying to figure something out to try and make some money for our soon-to-be family of 4. And Laurie has been an author for a long time. We tried publishing her books ourselves before, and that flopped. We had a traditional publisher and had a publishing deal that fell through. So we sort of took matters into our own hands and we launched her first book on April 19th, 2020. And that took off. And about 12 months, I think 16 months later, something like that, we were at just over 10,000 a month in royalties from Laurie's books. And I started getting approached by other authors, Laurie started getting approached by other authors saying, how are you doing this with your books? And she said, well, it's my husband doing it, doing my marketing. So I started doing coaching and consulting with other authors to help with their advertising and marketing. And that went well. But then a lot of authors started saying, I can't afford your coaching and consulting rates. Have you ever considered doing an online course? So I said, no, not really. So I started looking into doing online courses. And that's sort of how the course side of things took off. I also did ads management. So I ran ads for authors as well. And then recently in the past sort of 5 or 6 months, I've been doing sort of more one-on-one mentorship side of things as well. So sort of higher ticket mentorship, but then the courses are more cost effective for authors, particularly those that are just getting started. The rates, obviously, for the price point of a course is much different to my one-on-one mentorship. So I try and offer services and products for authors at all levels, really, whether they're just getting started or whether they're fairly established. So that's a very quick run through of how I got to where I am today.
Amazing. And we'll get more into it, but just give us an overview of those 2 product offerings right now. We'll get into more, but
yep, sure.
If you had a pie chart, your revenue, like, is it 50-50 in terms of the percentage of where your revenue is coming from? Take us a little bit down that road.
Okay. So the price point of the courses is $297. That's US dollars. And the one-on-one is $5,000 US dollars. And so the courses are just a one-time fee, and they get lifetime access to the course. And they also get future updates as well with that price point. So there's no sort of ongoing costs for the course from a customer perspective. And the mentorship, the one-on-one mentorship, that's a $5,000 investment, and that's for like a 90-day relationship. So I work with them one-on-one for 90 days. We have 6 calls in those 90 days, and we have WhatsApp access and email contact in between, so I can give feedback on ads. So it's quite a close, intimate relationship I have, providing feedback and suggestions, and looking at ad copy, looking at ad images, feedback on metrics, and decisions, helping people with decisions with what to do with their advertising. And in terms of revenue, it can be a bit skewed sometimes because of I've been working with Craig for quite a while now, and we've been having calls, coaching calls for quite a while, and as Craig will probably tell you, we've been through various different models, I suppose, of the business, where we've had evergreen courses and open close courses. This year we're at about $400,000 so far. And about 300 of that has come from courses, and about 100,000, probably just less than 100,000 has come from the one-on-one stuff.
It's been incredible to see your journey from from starting doing one-on-one and then saying, okay, now I want to do on-demand courses, and then finding your sweet spot for the high ticket stuff and more of the one-on-one stuff that you're doing.
Thank you.
But yeah, absolutely. And it's been fun to be participating in that journey as you go through it. But that brings us to your question. And because what you're looking for is a way to make sure that you don't over-index on one area or the other. So let me just read your question as you submitted it to us here really quick. And that is, I want to scale revenue without scaling my one-on-one interactions between courses, coaching, and the new AI tool that you have. Well, you'll probably tell us about here in a minute. And your group coaching, you're worried that you're building a job for yourself with more moving parts and complexity instead of a business that serves you rather than you serving it. So which of these offers should you be your primary growth engine versus supporting players so you can allocate your time to more strategically rather than trying to push everything equally? So to sum it up, you have a lot of moving parts, you have a lot of different options, and you've sort of validated and proved to yourself that each one of these different aspects of the models will work, but you want to figure out, where do you put your emphasis? Where do you put your focus so that you have something that's kind of working for you in the background? Does that feel like a good summary?
Absolutely. Yep. Nailed it. Yep. Spot on.
Okay. So in terms of the pain point that you're feeling most acutely right now, if we want to call it a bottleneck or if we want to call it a pain point, what sticks out to you right now? The mentorship calls, the one-on-one mentorship calls, I've probably got 6 or 7 calls a week. And then I've got the WhatsApp access in between those calls for each client as well. So it's pretty time consuming, and it's no one's fault. It's just the way that things are. But because I'm in the UK and most of my clients are in the US, my calls tend to fall towards the sort of mid to late afternoon, which then eats into my time with family time and going to pick the kids up from school and things like that. And I built the business to support our lifestyle where I can go and pick the kids up from school. And that doesn't always happen as much as I'd like it to. So Mondays and Fridays, I keep free with no calls at all. So I've only got calls Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but still it's just a lot of mental energy. And I've definitely taken on too many clients. I've got 16 active clients at the minute. And yeah, it's quite full on. So that's sort of draining my energy, my resources to really think about where's this business going. I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants some days and putting out fires. And yeah, it feels a bit too overwhelming, to be honest.
So there's so many different directions I want to go here. And again, some behind the scenes stuff. We have some kind of show notes so we could learn about you. I see that you're thinking about adding a group coaching offer, a 6-week group coaching offer for $997. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because the way I've built my business, and this is where I think a lot of where we can focus on choke points, these bottlenecks that you have is in the group coaching realm. But can you take us through your vision of it, or if it's actually operating and selling in the real world, just take us through how the experience has been thus far.
Yeah, sure. So the group coaching thing, so I'm building a new course on another advertising platform specifically for authors called BookBub ads. And I was just going to launch this course. I was just going to build it in the background, then launch it. And Craig said, whoa, hang on. How about doing it this way? And he walked me through this cohort sort of setup where take on sort of 10 to 15 authors and deliver the course live, essentially. So it's quite scrappy, just with Google Docs and then asking for feedback and sort of doing hot seats with each author on the calls. So it's a very interactive sort of product, if you like, service, and it's going really well. So I launched it about 5 weeks ago, and all 15 places were snapped up within about 3 days, I think, something like that, at $997. And so it was a very, very popular offer. And we've got a WhatsApp group as well. So all 15 authors in there and myself are in the WhatsApp group, and there's lots of communication and support between other authors and myself. So it's not just me providing feedback, it's other authors in there providing feedback to the other authors in the group on their ads, on their metrics and that sort of thing. And it's great. Authors are getting a lot out of it. And we do sort of about 90 minutes each week, each Wednesday for 6 weeks. So we're 3 weeks in now. And I find it a lot more, it's not as draining to say as the one-on-one, because it's not just me delivering. It's other authors are chipping in as well. And it's not me standing here on an ivory tower and saying, this is the way you do it. This is the only way to do it. It's more authors putting in their opinions and their experiences and sharing their insights as well. Group, yeah, it's the first ever thing I've done with group coaching. And so it's a new experience for me, but I'm really enjoying it.
What happens you said you're 5 weeks in, 6-week course. What happens week 7?
I don't know yet, to be honest. I don't know. We get to after 6 weeks, the 6 week comes to an end. I don't know. So we've got this WhatsApp group. So do I continue that? The people in the cohort will get the BookBub Ads course when it releases end of October, early November. But yeah, we finish on 15th of October is when the cohort ends. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do after that.
Enjoying the conversation? Good. Me too. Well, I have amazing news for you. The fun doesn't need to stop here in the episode. You can get regular insights from both Craig and I on building, growing, and overcoming your growth questions. Go to tgq.tools/signup to get the type of coaching found here on the growth question. We'll put a link in the description down below for you. Just tell us where you want the coaching sent, and you'll get it delivered directly to your inbox. Now back to the show.
So this part of his offer isn't necessarily what we might think of as traditional group coaching. This is a validation step that he's going through in order to create an on-demand course in the future. But I think what's important here is what you've done is being able to prove the model and demonstrate to yourself that you know how to run this type of a concept well, right? So what I think would be an interesting thought exercise would be, let's say that we're meeting together 3 years from now, and you have a thriving group coaching program going, and it's hitting the scheduling types of needs that you have, as well as the revenue types of needs that you have. If you were in that place 3 years from now, how would you be describing it to me in this moment?
I'd feel a lot less pressure, I think, because I just have the one call a week rather than 6 or 7. So that would be a big weight off me. I think the thing I like about it is in that same 90 minutes, I can help 15 authors rather than 1. So I can have more impact in the same time frame, if you like. Also, as we've talked about on our calls, Craig, I like having another access level to me that is in between courses and one-on-one mentorship. So I find it's a nice middle ground for me.
It's interesting that you even bring up, finding this place and it being more fulfilling, and also the reduction of time. I feel the natural progression. I know I've gone through it. I know Craig has gone through it. And now knowing you for as long as I've known you, you've gone through it too. Where you can make very good money, can make a lot of money in courses. And that obviously helps. It helps with your family. It helps with your livelihood. It helps with all that stuff. I do feel as we go more and more into the creator economy, the online business economy, and even with the advent of AI, a lot of that money lacks a little bit. And I know, I guess as a writer, your wife probably knows, and as a business owner, a lot of this life can be somewhat isolating at times. And so to have the one-on-one stuff and now entering into this group stuff, I know I've found a lot of fulfillment, and I've designed my entire business, I'd say the vast majority, around group coaching and getting more access to my clients and them access to me. What I think is interesting, this is where the natural progression I feel like comes in. You started in high ticket, you went to kind of low ticket, generated a bunch of revenue there, and now you're trying to find the sandwich in the middle, because high ticket takes a lot of your time. Low ticket is like, okay, this is just a machine that's running. I again have a note that when you coach people, you know that there is an evergreen nature to advertising, right? Whether it's advertising on Amazon, whether it's advertising on Facebook, all these different platforms that you advertise on.
Yep.
How much do you see an ongoing, rather than like cohort and validation based group coaching? How much can you envision what that would look like, where maybe you have, a dedicated 1 or 2 days of calls with 10 people at one time versus, okay, I have 10 different calls with 10 different people throughout the week. Can you see that image being put into the structure of your business?
Very much, yeah. That's a place I'd like to get to. I just don't quite know how to get there. So it's because I think my biggest sort of worry, I suppose, not worry, that's the wrong word, but my biggest concern maybe is with the group coaching. This one that I'm going through now is more of a validation model, as we've discussed, and I've got my courses. So there'll be 3 ads courses by November, and then one that's more of an author business course. So it'll be 4 courses total. And my concern with the group coaching is I'd love to do it, and I'll find a way to get there somehow. But my concern is what are the topics of those group coaching cohorts, and so I don't duplicate what's in the courses. And so that people see, if they've gone through the courses, they can see, well, this group coaching thing makes sense. It's not just, or is it just people are just paying for more access to me that they don't get in a course? I'm not quite sure of the content that should go into these courses and what the transformation should be that they're not getting from the courses. Does that make sense?
So I might be aggravating a lot of English and British people when I say this, but I've adopted, in terms of European football, I've adopted the Tottenham Hotspur, which I know they're the bunch of spoiled rich team, whatever, but I went to that stadium and I've adopted that team. And I've used this analogy, metaphor in a previous episode. I use it with my clients all the time. I'd love to hear Craig's thoughts on it, but I can watch a football match between Tottenham and Arsenal, either at my house on TV for free, at a bar for 50 quid, in the nosebleeds for 300 quid, in a press box for 1,500, or on the field for 5,000, right? It's all the same game, but it just depends on my level of access to that game, right? And so I understand your pre-apprehension, or even your worry, we'll use that word, where it's like, well, the person went through the course and they got all of the knowledge. Now they're still going to get the course, but they're also going to get me. I feel like as the coach, whether it's group one-on-one and you have experience one-on-one, but I feel like we're not the knowledge, we're not the information, we're not the tactics, the strategies that we share. We're the fast forward button. The access is the fast forward button. And that's what people pay for. And so, like, I know I had help from Craig once upon a time too, even going through like launching course and taking on more clients, of that worry. And I would just invite you to keep that reframe in your mind of like watching a football game at different access points, because I think, and I've proven it with my clients, but that's really what people pay for, is the access, not the information.
Yeah. No, great point.
Well,
yeah.
And I just want to build on everything you just said there, because I've found there's more value to me reading a good book and understanding like what it can do for my life, and then saying, I need to read it again, and I need to read it again. And so it's very much a cliche, but it is very true. Oftentimes it comes down to being reminded rather than being taught something all over again.
Yeah.
And so the courses are the table stakes. You need to know the strategies. You need to know the vocabulary. They need to know your philosophy. They need to know your process.
Yep.
But just watching a course and even trying to implement it in and of itself by yourself is a completely different animal than saying, we're going to go lockstep through this together. And when money's being spent, especially on ads, like this is where the world like smacks you in the face. Okay, I did everything right and this ad didn't perform the way I expected it to. Why not? Well, Matt's there to help answer that question. The community is there to help answer that question. And you're going through this process together in order to make this become alive. And so very much to John's analogy, it's the same information, but you get a different texture and a different experience by being able to take that information and then apply it. And so it's just it's a deeper type of experience.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. So that's another sort of thing that as you've been talking, there's come up is that, and I think we talked about it earlier on our call earlier today, Craig, that with four courses and one-on-one mentorship, and then adding group coaching in, I've suddenly got like 6 offers, if you like. And I've been following your newsletter for quite a while now, John. I love your philosophy of like one funnel, one offer, which seems just so much simpler than having like 6 different things. Is it easy? That's what I'm asking here. But it's how I can sort of, is it worth consolidating things into more of a one product thing, or am I better to keep things as like 6 separate products and run different launches, if you like, throughout the year? Because there's various different offerings that I can help people with. And on the one side, I can see that having 6 different offers is great because it allows people to sort of, it's almost like a buffet, or they can choose which one they want. Whereas yours, John, is great because you've like, here's what I help you with. Here's my offer, take it or leave it. There's no sort of jumping around between, how about this one? I'm not quite sure about, should I pick this one instead of this one? And your business model just seems much simpler, John, than mine at the minute.
I think there's another reframe here, though, that's really important. And again, this is because of the natural progression that your business, a very successful business, has taken where, well, one thing I think is we need to redefine the word offer, because when I hear you say I have 6 different offers, really, I think you have 6 different products and services, but it's all the same offer, right? Get your client or customer to sell more books.
Yeah.
That's the offer.
That's the transformation, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I do think, though, is, and maybe where the disconnect is coming, is you're having a hard time seeing how the logical journey of a customer ascends into your offer suite, right? You started at high ticket, which a lot of people do. There's nothing wrong with that. But your main revenue driver is a $295 price point, right? Selling X amount every single month. And there's 5 different courses, correct? Or 4 different courses.
4 different courses, yeah.
4 different courses. The way I view like the 1-1-1 is like, I don't necessarily do courses as much anymore because I'm just looking for more speed of implementation of idea. My core offer, right, is my group coaching, which is going to help you drive more consistent revenue monthly in less amount of time. I mean, it's a little bit more jazzed up than that, but I have low ticket products similar to your $297 course that solve auxiliary problems around that, right? So similar to your products, you have an Amazon ads course, you have a Facebook ads course, all to help you solve more books. The way I've positioned my business is the one-on-one just has to be almost like more than worth my time, because I'm very similar to you. Like, I want a life outside of this. Very easily, it can become just a huge weight that just helps you sleep at night because you're making good money on your time, but you don't have a lot of that time. And so I do think that there is a reframe that's important here, that like your offer, you have one offer already. You have different products that help reach that offer from a different vantage point.
Yeah.
And I think using those, like, there's a way we could really get nerdy about it and go into like the structure of things, but there's a way of using those as, I view them as like clones of myself. Like the master classes that I do, the courses that I have, those are asynchronous teaching devices. And once a week, people come in a community setting, in a group setting, to get that fast forward button. I'd love to hear what Craig thinks on this. And first and foremost, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, if that reframe even makes sense of how to view all of these amazing products that you have into one offer.
Yeah, that helps a lot, John. Thank you. Yeah. Craig and me were discussing earlier today was the courses are more top of funnel products. And then it can sort of come down into the group coaching and then the one-on-one. That's a sort of flow, the customer flow, I suppose, if you like. But yeah, I see what you mean, what you're saying now about the offer is the transformation, and I've got just different routes to enable authors to get there, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I even have like clients that come into my group coaching portal, they get old products that really, like, I even tell them, I'm like, this, like, you are beyond this. You're more advanced in the time that we've shared together and what we've built. Like, you're beyond, this is a very introductory course. And they're like, dude, I don't care. I want to learn as much as I can from you. And I do think that the relationship, like, again, like, it's, you have all the information within your product that's going to be like, I'm going to take you from zero to selling a lot of your book and making good money on it. And you'll deliver that. But I don't think human beings are like robots where they're like, okay, I'm going to take all the information and boom, I'm there. They're going to want you. They're going to want other people in the trenches doing the exact same thing they're doing. Our job is building our businesses to just give them the permission to do it.
Would you like to be a guest on The Growth Question? Go to tgq.tools/apply to tell us about you, your business, and your growth question. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like what John was saying, how you frame and think about the word offer, right? So you could say, well, the offer is, I have 3 different offers because I have 3 different courses. I don't know that that's necessarily the most accurate. And I think even to be more precise in our language, sometimes I feel like the pressure that you're feeling isn't necessarily that you feel like you have a bunch of different offers. It's that you have a number of different fronts that require your attention.
Yeah.
And so
I
have 4 courses that I need to keep updated. Really 3, because the author business course is more evergreen content.
Yeah.
Right. But these ad platforms change on a regular basis. So it's like, okay, I'm behind the 8 ball to figure out how do I stay ahead of and be a leader to my clients in order to do that. Then I step into the space to where it's like I have to give of myself in a different facet, in a different way in order to be the group coach leader. And then it's almost a different way that you're showing up for people to be able to say on a one-on-one basis, here's how I'm going to fearlessly lead you into the promised land of where you want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think some of that is just trying to align your thinking in terms of, like John was saying, what's the message that I want to get across to people, and what's the transformation that we're going forth? And learn how to create a narrative to where all of that is in the same lane. So you don't feel like you're necessarily splitting your attention and your time. There's never going to be a day to where you don't have to stay on top of those technology platforms and keep up on them, right? So that's a tension that we have to live with.
Yep.
Right. But in terms of the information and how you are leading people to make the transformation from group coaching to one-on-one is largely the same. But with group coaching, you do have that added benefit of other people being able to participate as well.
Yeah, it's a model. Just in the last 3 weeks since doing this, it's a model that already feels so much more sustainable than having 15 one-on-one clients. So much more sustainable. Yeah.
Well, and I think, tying a little bit of a bow to the question I asked earlier, like what happens week 7, is I think that there's nothing stopping you, and you probably already know this, but it's worth double clicking on, is like in the nature of your niche and your space with ads always changing. I've lost money on ads because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have someone like you. Is you can give clients permission, like week 7, now what? Well, now it's join this community of ongoing support so you can stay up to date on these things. Like I, Matt, am going to have all of these tools coming your way over the next months, years to help you achieve your goal. Like it doesn't always have to be group coaching is just 0 to X weeks. Like it's forever until the person doesn't need you anymore. That should ultimately be the goal for any coach service provider. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Cool. Thank you. So you're thinking, because I haven't got anything at the minute for them to go into. So you're thinking create a new offer for a group coach for people who've been through group coaching, just when they ask what's next.
I think you were asking John here, but I just want to jump in a moment and just ask you to be very precise about the words that you use. Instead of thinking of it as a different offer, think of it as a continuation of what they are already doing.
Right. Okay.
So then that way it's like, okay, so we've done BookBubs, like we've dialed that in and everything. So now that you know that, the rubber needs to hit the road, and how can I continue to help you work with that? And so there's a little, pricing models different. And I know that sometimes you said your clients like to feel like something's not just indefinite, but you could say it is 6 weeks at a time. And then that way you're always showing up in a continuous way just to think instead of like, I have to create an entirely new offer. No, it's how do I take you continuously on the journey that you're already on?
That's food for thought. That I have never thought about what to do after the 6 weeks come to an end. Yeah. Okay.
And again, like just again, structurally, not actually uncovering the promise and the path and those kinds of things of your offer, but structurally, like you already have, the way I would view it, a invaluable archive of training assets. So if in your book bubs, you're helping them accomplish problem or solve problem A, well, it's like, okay, they've solved that. Craig was actually the first person to teach me this, but it's like whenever you solve a problem, a new problem arises.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they've gone through and they've solved the book bubs problem. Now, what other problems are going to come up? Well, it's like, it doesn't matter because you have an archive of training assets that's going to help them get started. And then when they need to call on the expert, that's where you can create this group coaching, continuous continuity community off of that. Still same offer, it's just a different access point to continue down that offer.
Right. Okay. So that would potentially look like almost like a weekly office hours type call, would it? Is that where
That's how I structure mine.
that's how you structure yours? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's when you turn up to those calls then, John, you've got no pre-prepared content as such. It's more everyone's there to ask you questions about their specific challenges they're going through at that moment in time.
Correct. And I have like asynchronous conversations with people. So I'm doing my best as a service provider and a coach to keep track of where they're at, knowing what they're going to be dealing with, giving homework afterwards. And then if people want, this is where I think the ascension illustration comes into play, is when people want, like, I'm not getting enough time in the office hours. Like, sorry about that. I'm only one individual, but let's take it one-on-one, and
Okay.
people do, right?
Yeah.
And so now you're going from course, helping them solve low-hanging fruit problem, to group, helping them solve that bigger problem faster. And now you're in like the either 5,000 if you keep that price point or whatever price point you want. Now you're at the let's solve it as fast as humanly possible, like strap on, type of deal. So that's how I would ascend it. That to me is like, in my head, I like to keep things kind of stupid. That to me is like the simplest route for organizing a business.
Cool. Thank you. And then in terms of what I prioritize then, am I prioritizing getting people into the courses and then everything else is on the back end of that?
I have an opinion. Sure, Craig does too. My opinion would be, well, first, let me add some context here. How are you selling the vast majority of your courses? Are you selling them directly from ads? Are you selling them from your email list? Like, how are you selling most of your courses?
The majority is through my email list. I run some ads as well when I open a course. And they don't sell huge amounts. Majority, probably, I bet 90% of it comes from my existing email list.
Okay. So yeah, if you're kind of doing these mini campaigns in your email list, like the way I run mine is I'm always rotating. Like I'm either doing a live masterclass, I'm opening up my core offer, I'm doing a bundling of different masterclasses, almost like courses that I have, always trying to prioritize my core, which is the group coaching. And then everything else is used as a qualified lead magnet that still leads to that. So what does that mean? I don't know if in the back end of your courses you can probably, Craig would be masterful here, but you can add some ways of pitching now a group coaching either in the back end, midway through, or even up front when they buy in the purchasing sequence that still is always priming. Like this is really what you want. This is the golden goose of what I have to offer. The courses are just they're just part of the logical ascension model. I'd love to hear what you think here, Craig.
Matt, what was the challenge that I issued to you last week?
7 days ago.
Okay. So if you had to give all the money that you earned off your courses to me.
That's right. Yeah.
And still create a thriving business only off of your back end, what would your business look like then? And so in terms of clarifying your thinking and where you place your emphasis, I would repeat exactly what John said and say, look for those places to where you can reach people at scale and high impact at a price point that makes sense to you. And you've done that up until this point through course sales. And you've been incredibly successful doing that. Although they need to be updated, although they need to stay contemporary and current and everything like that, they're built. You know what they need to do. You know what they need to say. You refine that content over time. So now it seems like, okay, we know you're over-indexing on one-on-one time. So let's pull that back. You've proven the model that you know how to make a group coaching system work through your validation process. So the emphasis in my mind would be focus on this group coaching aspect of it, figure out how you can dial that in. And your mindset should be, how do I pay all of my bills and enjoy my life through back-end sales? And then everything else you generate on top of that either goes to ads or profits.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. And John, just one quick question here, John. With your offers, do you make an offer to your email list once a month? Is that correct?
Yes, with a little bit of an asterisk. Like this summer, I dialed it back. I had and this actually I think connects very well to what you're talking about. Like I had things with my family life and my personal life where I was like, I want to turn down the knob a little bit. I need bandwidth to focus in another place. And so like, yes, rule of thumb is I'd say 1, often I try to do 2, but when I need to scale it back, I need to scale it back. And then I know I have a flywheel of clients that I can still focus on that are continually working with me, paying me, right, for their transformation. So I'm in control of how much water do I want to let in or out of the hose. I don't know. I like to think in analogies, and sometimes I just start running with one that doesn't really make sense. But
works for me.
Yes, like I do like to keep a consistent cadence. And then, so let's really easily draw this out. Like I'll do anywhere from a 7 to 10 day open close enrollment. Okay, what happens at the end of 10 days? For me, I have so many assets similar to like your courses where I'm going to do another round of a different campaign because I want to meet my ideal client where they need me. Sometimes they don't need to invest a lot of money in group coaching or even one-on-one. Sometimes they just need to see what this world is about. Cool. Low ticket launch. And I can't tell you, it's got to be over 75% of my clients come in to be like, oh, I bought X and such masterclass, or I bought your course, X amount of months ago. I'm so ready now. It's like, awesome. So I'm always trying to meet them where they're at, never assuming that everyone's at the same place, and giving them the access to the football match where they want to watch it.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
I started out as I purchased John's course 2.5 years ago now or something like that. Came into your cohort and and
then I hired you and we, we're cross-mogenation. So
right?
Yeah, it worked out.
But all this to say that there's so many different ways to bring people into your world, right? And having a clear, this is the other thing that we've talked about a number of times, is just having a very clear understanding of who that person is that you're best ready to serve. And then using that to map it into, okay, they're going to, we all have these plans. Oh, here's what my funnel looks like. It's like people come in and out in all these different places. They're leaky. They need to be fixed, all that stuff. But you can have an ideal, like they're going to come in here. I'm going to interact with them in this place. Some people are going to come into the higher ticket thing and have a single narrative about how they interact with you through your different facets and the ways that you show up to them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's no perfect funnel, and some people might bypass the courses and go straight to one-on-one. They don't want courses. They want group. They want to go straight to one-on-one.
100%.
Yeah.
I think we've covered a lot, and I hope that you'll be able to find and use a lot of what we've said and put it into practical use. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this unfolds in future calls and what you're doing. If people are listening to this and they're an independent author, they want to sell their own books, how would they reach you?
The best place to start is going to my website, which is matthewjholmes.com. And there's a free book on there, the Author Advertising Blueprint, that walks you through my methodology for advertising as an author. And that's the best place to find out more about me.
Excellent. Matt, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, John. And thank you so much, Craig. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I've got so much to think about now, so much food for thought. I've got lots of journaling to do. So thank you both.